Imagine being faced with an impossible choice. Save your best friend, someone you love and trust, or save 10 strangers whose lives you know nothing about. It's a question that challenges not just our emotions, but also our sense of morality and ethics. What would you do? Stick around as we explore the psychology and moral reasoning behind this thought-provoking dilemma. The emotional impact of choosing between saving your best friend or 10 strangers is immense. Your best friend represents years of shared memories, love, and mutual trust, things that are impossible to replicate with strangers. The emotional weight of saving someone you deeply care about is amplified by the intimate bond you share. This connection feels irreplaceable as you build your life together with this person. On the other hand, the strangers are faceless, and you don't have the same emotional connection with them. Their lives are no less valuable, but they are unknown to you, which can make the decision feel colder. You might feel immense guilt or inner conflict about choosing one over the other. The human brain is wired to prioritize loved ones, especially in life or death situations, and this instinct often overrides logical or utilitarian thinking. Utilitarianism is a philosophical theory that suggests the right course of action is the one that brings the greatest good to the greatest number of people. In this case, from a utilitarian perspective, saving the 10 strangers would be the morally correct choice, as it maximizes the number of lives saved. The idea behind this is simple. More lives saved equals greater good. However, this approach isn't without its challenges. While utilitarianism provides a clear and objective guideline, it fails to consider the deeper emotional connection that humans have to those they love. The utilitarian perspective might feel cold and detached when applied to real-life situations, as it disregards the importance of personal relationships. In reality, we can't always reduce life to numbers. Choosing the greatest good often ignores the intrinsic value of personal connections, making it harder for many to align with this viewpoint, especially when it comes to someone they love. The value of a single life, particularly one that you've shared a lifetime with, versus the abstract value of strangers' lives, is a deeply philosophical question. Many people argue that each life holds equal worth, but in practice, we tend to value the people we know more deeply. This bias can be traced back to our evolutionary psychology. Humans have always needed close-knit groups for survival. It's natural to prioritize loved ones when faced with life and death decisions. Over time, our bonds with close friends and family members have shaped the way we assess the worth of a life. The deeper connection you share with your best friend adds weight to their life in a way that strangers can't replicate, even if their lives are just as precious. This creates a moral tension. Can the life of one person really be worth more than 10 others? Empathy is often strongest for those we have close relationships with. Our ability to empathize with others is influenced by how well we know them and the emotional connection we build. In this dilemma, empathy for your best friend comes naturally, as you have shared experiences and understand their pain, joy, and struggles. This connection allows you to feel their suffering as if it were your own. But when it comes to strangers, the ability to empathize is much weaker, despite the fact that their lives are equally valuable. Psychologically, we are wired to care more about those we know, which explains why people often choose loved ones over strangers, even when the latter might be in greater need. In this situation, empathy for the unknown feels distant and less impactful, even though the logical choice may be to help them. Cultural upbringing and societal norms significantly influence how we approach moral dilemmas. In many cultures, there's an emphasis on the importance of family and close relationships, meaning individuals might prioritize saving loved ones over strangers. This reflects a deep-rooted social structure that places importance on familial bonds and communal ties. In such cultures, sacrificing one's loved one for the greater good might seem incomprehensible, as loyalty to family or friends is paramount. In contrast, more collectivist cultures might emphasize the welfare of the group over individual relationships, making the choice to save 10 strangers more acceptable. These contrasting views shape how individuals perceive morality, and this reflects in the decisions they make. Societal conditioning also plays a role, teaching us the value of community and solidarity versus the importance of familial loyalty. The aftermath of making such a decision can have profound emotional and psychological effects. Guilt is likely to be the most immediate and overwhelming feeling after making a choice in this dilemma, regardless of the option chosen. If you save your best friend, the guilt of condemning 10 strangers to death might weigh heavily on you, especially if you are aware of their stories or potential. It's difficult not to imagine the potential lives that could have been saved, leaving you with a sense of regret. Conversely, choosing the 10 strangers could lead to guilt over sacrificing your best friend's life, someone you've likely had a deep emotional bond with. The psychological toll of living with the consequences of such a choice is significant, and it may linger long after the decision has been made. This dilemma mirrors several classic philosophical thought experiments, such as the trolley problem, where one must decide whether to divert a runaway trolley to save multiple lives at the expense of one. These thought experiments often aim to explore the conflict between utilitarianism, saving the greatest number, and deontological ethics, following moral rules regardless of consequences. The choice between saving 10 strangers or your best friend embodies the tension between these two moral philosophies. While the trolley problem offers a simplified version of this dilemma, real life is much more complex. This scenario forces us to question whether morality should be based on rules or the outcomes of our actions, making it a thought-provoking exercise in ethical reasoning. Religious teachings often offer moral frameworks for life and death decisions. Some belief systems might prioritize self-sacrifice or place value on the collective good, suggesting that one should save the 10 strangers. This perspective may be based on the concept of helping the greater number of people. In contrast, other spiritual or religious views might emphasize the sanctity of personal relationships and the importance of loyalty, encouraging individuals to save their best friend. For example, in Christianity, the concept of greater love may suggest that sacrificing oneself for another is a noble act, potentially guiding someone to choose their best friend. Other religious philosophies, like Buddhism, might focus on detachment from attachment, urging individuals to make decisions based on the collective well-being of all involved. These perspectives often offer guidance based on higher moral or spiritual principles. Altruism, the selfless concern for the well-being of others, is another key consideration in this dilemma. Some individuals may instinctively lean towards saving the 10 strangers, seeing it as the right thing to do from an altruistic standpoint. Their reasoning might be rooted in the belief that saving many lives outweighs saving one. Others might feel that true altruism involves prioritizing the person who is most important to them, especially if that person is the one they are closest to. However, there's a debate about whether pure altruism exists, or if all decisions are ultimately influenced by personal emotions, social expectations, or self-interest. Ultimately, this dilemma forces individuals to confront their own values, beliefs, and priorities. There is no objectively right answer, as the decision hinges on a deeply personal understanding of what is worth sacrificing. The choice often reflects how we balance empathy, logic, duty, and self-interest. The ultimate question is not just about saving one life over many, but about what we value most: love, duty, or the greater good. This question encourages reflection on our moral compass, pushing us to consider the deeper meanings of life, death, and human connection. Each answer is unique, shaped by individual experiences, upbringing, and psychological makeup. What would you do in this impossible situation? The question remains as much about understanding yourself as it is about understanding morality. It's a question with no right answer, but one that reveals a lot about our humanity. If you enjoyed this deep dive into moral psychology, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more challenging questions and insights. Share it with your friends and see what they would choose. See you next time.